right, I want everybody watching right now to get this understood. If you drive in the left lane on the freeway and it's anything under than 75 miles an hour, I really dislike you. Today we're talking about pet peeves here on the Five Squad. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Five Squad podcast. My name is Evan Andrews.
I'm Haley Andrews.
And we today are talking about a really fun topic that I don't think enough people get to complain about. Yeah, we get to vent. It's a vent session today.
A little bit of a vent session.
On what peeves us. What are your pet peeves?
Episode 12.
It's 12.
It's 12.
Man.
Yep.
Can you believe it? We're coming for the 1%
We are coming for that
coming for the slot. I love it. I love it. I love it. But yeah, so today we wanted to do something a little bit more fun, lighthearted, get the audience out there a little bit more used to.
Yeah, let's see if they'll engage with and interact with our pet peeves.
And who knows, we might have some pet peeves that relate to some other people.
Maybe they'll share some of their pet peeves in the comments.
That would be great.
That would be
cool. If you guys are listening, watching, whatever you might be doing right now, if anything that we say today relates with you in any way, shape, or form, please drop a comment. Let us know. We'd like to maybe talk about it later. But okay, first I'll start, I guess. But this one actually happened to me this week, and I want to say that I really hate it when I get a bad haircut. But the funny thing is, and I don't know if it's my personality type or if this is men overall in general, but for whatever reason, when we know that we get a bad haircut, we stand up and what do we say?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It looks great.
This is the same thing as like at the nail salon. If you go and like it's not the same style or the length or whatever, you're like, you just like literally can't say anything. You're like, yeah, it looks great.
Right. It's kind of like why you don't send your food back.
Well, some people do.
Some people do, but like I'm so scared of doing that.
But this is why I don't get my haircut. Seriously, like I hate getting my haircut because anytime I'm like, just a little bit, they're like, chop it up here.
Well, how often do women really get their haircut?
Don't ask me that question. I am not
I don't know, because for guys, it's usually like, 4 to 6 weeks maybe. I mean, some people go like every week, but I can't afford that.
It's probably like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I don't know, every 6 months or so. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
The last time I got a haircut was
longer for women.
The last time I got a haircut was like 2 years ago. And before that was probably the 2 times I had children. I just can't do the haircuts. And this is the exact reason why. Your failure.
Well, yeah, they just mess me up here on the side.
No, turn the other way.
Well, I can't. I got to turn this way. My camera's right there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was thinking about my camera.
No, they didn't fade me up right here over on the side, and it just looks all jankety-jank. And when I do my hair the way that I like to style it, it sits funny over here.
It's funny though because
but everybody else today has said your haircut looks great. Everything looks good.
And then he turns to the side and you're like, ooh, okay. Yeah. But it's the same thing that you get frustrated when you see our son Christian, the younger twin.
I was just gonna say that.
He comes home with these haircuts and I don't know. Like I don't know if it's like a bad haircut or like
the place they're going is bad.
Maybe Maybe. I don't know, but it's always
we don't control our son's haircut, right? And that's okay,
right?
But me and him were talking about it the other day. I mentioned to him, I said, Christian, you know what I hate it when I get a bad haircut. And he was walking down the stairs. He goes, me too. Look what they did to mine. And I'm like, they did the same thing to mine. So that was right before karate.
So such a bonding moment over bad haircut.
Bad haircuts.
Bad haircut bonding. That's cute. Put that on.
Triple B.
No, BHB. Bad.
Darn. BHB. It's
okay. I knew what you meant.
Whatever. We're on our 3rd episode of filming today. I'm allowed. So
that's your first pet peeve. What's
that's one of my biggest ones.
Haircuts.
Haircuts. Yeah. I mean,
I agree with you though.
Well, I honestly don't have a lot of pet peeves. Like there's not a lot of things that are like.
Yeah, you live with us. You
chose
irky. To be with us.
That's true. I would say one thing that happens all too often in our house, honestly, is the way that our dog lets us know that he needs to go outside.
Okay,
how he spends his time outside.
Okay, but before you even get into that, it's really cool that he like has taught himself how to do that.
It's true.
And people may think it's actually kind of cool. So you have to explain it and then tell why it's a pet peeve.
So our dog will go and walk around the back side of the couch to the back door, and he'll scratch on the back door like any normal dog. Like any normal dog will. Like that's how he lets us know. And that is not necessarily what my pet peeve is.
No, I know.
But my pet peeve is when he literally goes outside, because he likes to sunbathe.
Yep.
Right? So he'll go outside.
It's really cute,
and
though.
He'll sit down like he's going to sunbathe, but I'll go sit back on the couch, and it's like 30 seconds later, scratch at the door. And it's just so irritating. I wish he would... Because the times where I stand there and I'm like, okay,
you're like waiting for him, and he like goes forever outside.
It is so annoying.
And it's funny because the kids complain about it too. Yeah. The kids are like...
Well, I've started making them get up and letting him in and out.
And then they'll say, well, don't sit down, because the second you sit down, he's going to scratch and be ready to come inside, because he scratches to go out and to come back in.
Mm-hmm. He's treated like a king, though.
He really is.
He really is. Remember when I wouldn't let him on the couch when we first got him?
Yeah,
that lasted like a week.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Although that reminds me, I need to do some cleaning of the couch.
Yeah, we need to have our couch cleaned for sure.
But speaking of complaining, I think that'll segue into my very first pet peeve. And I think people could probably identify with this one, at least maybe females. But one of my biggest pet peeves is when people complain. And I don't mean what you're doing right now. I mean like constant complaining all day over like all the things, and they're not willing to do anything about it. So like...
Yeah, give me an example.
Okay, I'll give you a couple of examples.
They don't have to be necessarily real world examples. If you want to out the people that you're talking about right now, go ahead.
Like for me.
Okay.
So like people that say like, oh my gosh, you're so skinny. Like, I wish I was as skinny as you. Like, oh, but I'm overweight. Okay, but if you feel that way, what are you doing about it?
Right.
And they're like, oh.
Why shame you into
but the constant complaining, but not the willingness to
put the nachos down.
Or have water instead of soda, or go on a walk, or whatever. And I'm not saying anything about like body type at all. I just mean, if you're going to spend all day in that constant negativity and not do anything about it, like I can't feel sorry for you, because I'll offer you all the, remedies for what you're complaining about, and you can fix it. But not a lot of people want to put in that work, It's the same thing.
Very true.
It's the same thing as like people comment on my energy, right? They're like, oh my gosh, how do you have so much energy? I'm like, I don't know. I get 8 hours of sleep. I eat the right foods. Like I put in the work that results in better energy, and people just don't realize like that's what you have to do, like to change it. And it just bothers me when people just spend all day complaining. Like I'm just like, Yeah,
but you have 2 modes.
Off and on.
You literally have all the energy, or you have none.
Literally none.
And there's some people like me who kind of live in the middle, where it's like I have to understand how to regulate my energy, and not that you necessarily don't. But maybe you don't.
No, that's ADHD for you. Like,
yeah, okay.
You either have on or off.
Yeah,
and I think I'm more on than off, though.
That's true. That's true.
Since you did 2 of your pet peeves, I'll do 2, my second one. Okay, I don't know if anybody else has ever had this issue, because it was a first for me. But like, okay, so Evan does all of our laundry.
Oh, I know what she's going to say.
So Evan does all of our laundry, which, by the way, let me just take a pause. I really appreciate that you do the laundry and mostly the dishes.
Do I stand up and take a bow?
Yes, actually. Could you?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Anyway, so he does all the laundry, which is super amazing in a house of 5 people.
And I volunteered.
But I'll tell you, you volunteered tribute?
I volunteered 7 years. Yes,
okay. Right. But here, let me tell you this. Anytime something is shrunk in the dryer, ruined by any way, shape, or form, or lost or turned a different color, yes, green. It's always my clothes. It's always my clothes.
But it's not the way that I do laundry.
No, it's not the way he does laundry. But I'm just saying, we have a very expensive, extra large washer and dryer. And so you think like you spend money on that, it's going to do great work. And the same thing goes for like, I decide to spend money on my clothes. I have finally sort of moved out of Walmart a little bit. And I've moved into more of, the quality brands. And when I tell you, I have bought 4 pairs of these pink pants Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Evan. And me 2 other times. So $400 in pants that have been ruined by pennies in the washer.
Trapped in the washer.
So check your laundry, guys, because if you don't want your clothes ruined.
I couldn't believe it that it was the repair guy came out and he was like, yeah, the reason that you're getting this green coloration is the dirty pennies that are getting trapped in the bottom of your washer. And I was like,
so in case
there's
you didn't
no
know,
way that can
when
be
the
it.
copper interacts with the water, right? Is what you said?
Yeah, it's like the old dirty pennies.
And then it just turns, like it was doing like whites. It was turning them
Everything.
like a light blue. My pants turned teal.
It looks like a mossy film is left on it or whatever. It's
terrible.
Just gross.
All I know is I was just like, I'm so mad that I finally started to invest in my own clothing, and it's always my clothing. And then I'm like, maybe I should just do the laundry. No, it's not gonna happen.
So I know that you have, I mean, you have a full-time job.
Yes.
So
I do.
Everybody's work, I think, bothers them. Right.
There's
and I'm not going to
I'm not
going to sit here and say like, tell me all the stuff that bothers you about work, because I'm not going to have you do that to anybody. But
any teachers in here understand the field and how it is and what is
what you can and cannot say.
No, the downfalls of the field. We could go. That could be like a whole month's worth. Yes,
yeah, that's an hour.
You talk about your work.
I mean, yeah, so my work kind of bothers me from time to time, but there's 2 particular things at work that bother me the most. And the first one is before somebody potentially becomes a client of mine. And that is when they try and take their discovery consultations with me from their car or like a mobile device.
Yes.
I have it strictly on my thank you page for when they have a booking that
like you have a disclaimer.
I will not take your call if you're not going to treat the call with respect that it deserves to better yourself and the things that you're asking help for me for whatever. I'm just not going to take that call. Like, because, and also honestly, too, like this one guy, he told me, he's like, oh, I might be driving. And I told him, I cannot be responsible for your potential death.
That's true.
While you are talking to me.
That's true.
I said, so we will just reschedule this one. But that's a little bit of a pet peeve.
But do you notice that those people that want to take the car call don't turn out to be clients. A qualified client?
Oh, of course they don't.
Right. Because you see it's a direct correlation of value. Yeah. Okay,
but I think also anybody else too that is, and this I guess could go for any industry, but mine in particular because the I guess the quote unquote pricing of my industry is very kind of like, people think we just make it up. Right. But we don't.
There's not a science, but there's like a structure behind it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's literally, you can structure it to like an hourly kind of base. You can do project base or whatever, but
daily rate.
People think like, oh, I can find it cheaper from somebody else. And I say to anybody in any industry out here, they say that to you, tell them good riddance.
Good job. Good luck.
Go find it.
Yes.
Please go find it.
But that's like when people say like, oh, be less. Like, go find less.
Yeah.
Go find less. Yeah. Go find cheaper. But you're going to get less quality.
But at the end of the day, I say all of that to say that my pet peeve around that is those people that have like lowball budgets or like think that it like can be done for something other than the amount that I give them. And while that I guess could be true to some extent, I implore you, everybody out there that says it, go find somebody else to do it for you cheaper, and then let's
compare the quality.
It's not even quality; it's service.
There's a lot of aspects. I agree.
Everything. And
that's like probably the people that come to you in their car phone and want a lower budget are also the same people that go to like all of those community Facebook groups and like go in and they're like, hey, here's my business. Here's what I do.
And they do it six times a day.
And they do it in like 10 different Facebook groups. They never follow up. They never like engage with the people that engage with them. And then they say, well, social media doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups too, but I'm also in like a networking
Right.
thing. And I'm in those groups, and they're community groups. They're not entrepreneurial, whatever based groups.
There's a structure to the way in which you post in those groups.
Correct.
And it has a lot to do with what you post, when you post, and the
how
follow
you interact
up.
with. Yeah.
And that's where these people, these low ballers, let's call them that.
Yeah.
Hashtag low ballers.
I do notice that the low ballers are the ones that are in the Facebook groups
Yes.
trying to say like, this is what I do. And let me know if you need help.
And they're also
and
the ones that are constantly complaining. Wow, look at that umbrella of a pet peeve.
Look how we did that. It was like full circle. Full circle. Look at that.
Look at that.
Well, that does bring us to the end.
Are you serious?
Yeah, episode 12. We're already done.
That's crazy.
Did you not talk enough?
No, I think I did.
Well, if you are watching, if you are listening out there, we appreciate it greatly. We could not do this without all of y'all's support.
Yes.
And next episode, episode 13.
This is going to be a good one.
This one's going to be more her focus, I think, but we're going to be talking about, mom life and dad life and kind of our
day in the life.
Our kind of, what it is for us now, and even maybe our perspective on what we wish it was.
Right? Totally.
So if you're interested in that and you are a mom or dad out there and you want some other perspective from somebody else,
tune in.
We're your friend, if we're a stranger, it don't matter. We hope that you tune in. And,
maybe if we're strangers now, we'll become friends in the end.
Later.
Oh my gosh.
She's such a philosophizer.
That was so good. Strangers. Strangers to begin, friends in the end.
Wow.
That's how
we're going to make t-shirts. We're going to have merch for sale in the next 6 months. You can bet that. But
all right.
Thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next week.